as the Commissioner was talking about, what Commissioner Katz was talking about in terms of signage for office, we want to get that stuff up soon, particularly before mail ballots go out, so we're working towards with the landlord and the county in terms of replacing these existing signage that's out there, or something that identifies the board as well as the county clerk's office in this locale. Poll worker training is going to start Monday, October 2nd. I'm going to kind of check with Linda and Valerie in terms of the application, but we're going to email the chairs, the poll coordinators, the poll coordinators regarding the parameters of the training like we did for the June primary. And we'll conduct open houses, and pretty much the schedule and pretty much the framework will be the same as it was for the primary. And I'll leave it at that. Linda just came in, so I've got.
And did you want to do a report?
I have a question.
Okay.
In terms of people, poll clerks scheduling themselves, how long is that going to continue? Because we had complaints before about it stopping at a certain point.
No, I mean during the primary election it didn't stop, and we ran continuous classes up until.
Okay, so we're going to
December.
continue to do with that.
Yeah, we'll be the same as we did for the primary.
Thank you. Is it okay? Yeah, you had started to say that you were all set with that move, and then you talked about Homeland coming. So you're complete, everybody's working comfortably with all the things here now?
Yeah, Homeland Security came during the summer. They did a site assessment, which was particular to.
No, I mean, but the move is fine.
Oh, the move itself, yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
it's working.
Steve's office is still working through 50-plus years of
I got
stuff.
stopped. I got stopped.
But the
I
voting
never
machines
understand
and the technology is here, and the machines are here, which is the important thing. And then we look forward to the remainder coming over in the next couple of weeks. Our office and our staff did a great job in terms of getting the stuff down here along with the county. So, our office is operational, and we're getting used to our new surroundings.
You finished with your report?
Yeah, I have
Finish
that.
I don't know, maybe you have a report. We'll get it all here.
Well, in that case, I have some questions into that. And this happens all the time. We have to talk about death lists. I went to dinner with somebody about a week and a half ago, and she said, my husband died a year and a half ago, still on the list. If they're on a death, and we live in Monroe Township, if they're on a death list, shouldn't they be off? Are we getting this?
Sometimes don't get them regularly. If you give me the information, I'll look it up.
I asked her to send me the information, I don't have it yet. But there's, by law, aren't they supposed to provide an every X period of time?
Yeah, we just received a list today that the person passed away in 2006, so.
No, I
Yeah.
understand that, but are the municipal,
I believe they were asked to
voter
provide it
state,
monthly.
are they supposed to provide something
They're
every
supposed to
month?
provide it more regularly, or at least on a.
How often are they supposed to
They're
provide
supposed to
it?
provide at least once a month, and as you get closer to the election.
Can we send emails or remind them that that's the law and that you should be doing that? So we shouldn't be getting something that someone died in 2006?
I was just going to say, I mean, she
Yeah.
just got that here. Does that make
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, and I have another piece in terms of assigning poll clerks for the early voting. We talk about sending letters to poll clerks who worked in the early voting in the primary to see if they want interest in working in 2023 in general. I have no problem with that, except for the fact that there's a lot more people that want to work early voting than in general, so we can have some sort of pick in terms of what we do. So if that's the case, I prefer we make sure that we do not hire or rehire anybody where there have been complaints about them, because we have the option to pick to do something different. And the reason I mention that now is, and I just got this. I got this in the email about an hour or 2 hours ago, about a whole list of things at the early voting site in the primary, Perth Amboy early voting site in the primary, including the fact, and this one, I don't know about the other things, I have certainly haven't looked at, and I'll get something to, I just printed it off. Apparently, the Democrat poll worker supervisor at the predominantly early voting site was a county committee candidate, which means they were a candidate, which they were not permitted to work. And they apparently not only worked, but they were supervising. Who is our person, who do we have in predominantly? Our employee, our employee.
For early voting?
For my employee,
Yes,
that's Madison.
okay.
No. I mean,
We have one of our employees that are sort of supervising each one, okay.
But she's not gonna know whether they're on the ballot.
No, I know, but there's a lot of,
If you would like to sit down and go over that with me, I'd love to.
I'm gonna give, I have 3 copies, I just made a copy,
Okay.
one for,
Well,
I'll definitely
we
take
can
that.
make copies.
yeah, I got 3 copies, you can make more copies, and I vouch for
I'll
nothing.
make more
I
copies.
mean, I don't know how accurate it is, but
Sure.
certainly the fact that someone was a poll clerk and a candidate and did it, that's pretty, and that's correct. So that's wrong, that's illegal.
Well, that's, if that was
That's
the
the
case,
same thing that happened a year or so ago, when gentlemen publicly running for office in the township did the same.
we wouldn't want them there if they
And
were on the ballot.
the poll, the municipal clerk who's responsible for that should have gone immediately and explained to that person they couldn't work. That's the way those things are
Yeah, well,
handled.
it didn't
So
happen.
that, well, then why didn't that happen? What wasn't that
Commissioner, again,
person's?
this is an early voting site, you said.
Predominantly early voting
Isn't
site.
it the same thing where somebody just calls
This
the
is my
clerk
3rd
and
copy.
explains it?
3rd copies.
Did you say to the person that that's what should have happened, who told you?
I just got this an hour ago. All I
Okay, but
did
you
was
spoke
read
to
it.
somebody, I'm just saying, did you explain to them that that's?
So Beatrice, if it's an early voting, the clerk wouldn't know, because the early voting goes to.
The early voting,
Clerk wouldn't know?
the early voting, the clerk is not involved, the clerk is not involved, the municipal clerks are not involved in the assignment or handling early voting
They're not
sites.
giving the names of the persons working at the polls?
I don't think so,
No, the
because
clerks
it's the
have
early
nothing to
voting,
do
we have
with
10
early
early
voting.
voting sites.
Well, we have
at
people
25
here,
salary.
the clerks are never given the names of the persons voting the polls, working the polls,
Early
for
voting.
early voting.
Not necessarily, no.
No.
No, because we have 10 early voting sites, and it's so no town is,
Are those
no town is
persons-
either responsible for the early voting site, even if it's in their municipality.
But can I ask a question?
And I
If she knew
apologize
this
to
person was on the
the person
ballot,
that
why
I
weren't we notified that day?
Yeah.
If this person who sent the letter knew this person was on the ballot, why'd you wait 3 months and not tell us that day?
Yeah.
We don't know who the candidates are. This is kind of funny, 3 months later.
The answer is, I don't know.
I'm sorry, that's just not right.
And are these persons not trained the same way as
She may have
regular
looked at it
poll
afterwards.
workers?
They are.
So would they not know then what should be done if they had find something?
I'm sure this
like
chairperson knew this person was on the ballot.
Of course,
There's a
That's my point. They should have
reference here
handled
that
it
she saw the list,
appropriately.
she saw the list of committee people on the county clerk's website, which would have been after the election, so she saw it. All right, it doesn't make any difference otherwise when she saw it. This is a fact, if this is correct, and I didn't attach it, there were apparently 3 or 4 more pages, which were attachments. That shouldn't happen, and that person should not be working. First of all, they should have known better
If you're on the
already.
ballot, correct.
They should be known better already. I don't think they should be working early voting, especially being a supervisor in the future. As long as we have lots of people that want to work early voting. Okay, that's what I got.
So in other words, whoever is selected for that still goes through the actual training, correct?
Yes, they have training.
So therefore, that person needs to be admonished, correct? For not handling
The
it
person
appropriately.
should no longer be working early voting, because we have lots of people that want to work early voting, and we should use people that we have no issues with, not people that we have issues with, because we have lots of people that want it.
Agreed.
Okay?
Very much.
No.
I have a question. Is there any way that we can ask that
That issues
question
with?
of a poll worker that's interested in working, or just state that he
Well,
cannot be a
they can be,
candidate?
and on election
Election
day,
day, they can be.
not early voting, they can be, if they are a candidate for county committee, they can be a poll clerk in another district, because they're not a candidate there.
Which
But early
happened the
voting,
year
it's
prior
everywhere.
when the
That's
thing
what I'm
had come
saying.
up,
Is
so
there any way
there
when
are
you-
solutions
Is there any way when you
when done
hire
properly by the
early
persons.
voting workers to be able to find out if they are running for office? Or just put a specific thing that if you are running for office, you are not allowed?
They can't,
That could be one of our questions when we speak to them. Are you
Yes.
running for?
because they can't,
No,
they can't
okay.
do it.
Yeah,
Tell us
And
about
including
it.
county committee, because that's where the biggest piece comes from. Because one year, we got 600 to 1,000 people each year, either Republican or Democrat, and that's a lot that could be possibly.
And now
On the
voters don't
scheduling
count.
app, you know, we have that questionnaire, we can add that question too, if you're on,
Yeah.
are you on the ballot?
And a lot of people we call directly, so that would be one of our questions when we ask them.
I guess that's it on the report. Executive session, we have skipped that maybe to the end. Commissioner comments?
I already made my comments.
Commissioner Proctor?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to check that I've had some real concerns about poll workers and want to be assured that we will be included in whatever discussions might occur as we put together. Mr. Lynch,
Yes.
I'd like us to be, I would like it, just me, if nobody else wants to be included in whatever plans you make, the training of poll workers and possible changes therein, so that we don't have a lot of the things that happened last year that were, I don't think, handled well, and that really concern me terribly. Thank you.
Any other concerns?
What were the, I mean.
What were the concerns?
No, if there's things, if you have suggestions already in terms of recruitment
I
or
want to see
training.
the list, I'd like to change the whole training. I'd like us to really be very conscientious about making the people who come in understand the value of what they're doing, the importance of that, and the seriousness of it, so that they understand that we appreciate the work that they do, as do all the people who are voting. Voting is the most important thing. I said that the first day I was sworn in because of my position, and I felt it even more today when it became so much more demonstrated that that's not how, not everyone, but a large number of persons believed. So I'd like it to, I don't care if it's a slow thing, I'd like it every single time I'm going to make a statement about that. Thank you.
Commissioner Frankel?
Just want to make sure the commissioners see, according to the chief clerk's report, that we, 26th of September at 4 PM for Helmetta,
October
and
2nd.
October the 2nd at 4 PM, also for Helmetta.
Spotswood and Amanda.
I'm sorry, is it Spotswood?
Yeah, it's a combined school
I'm
board.
sorry, Spotswood and, I'm sorry, Spotswood and.
Actually, it's Spotswood School Board, but Helmetta, and does Milltown vote for that too? Because Milltown sends their kids.
No, and that goes to Spotswood schools.
No, I know, and the Milltown high schoolers go to Spotswood School.
They can choose between a couple of towns.
Oh, they can, okay, I wouldn't, doesn't make any difference, that's fine.
No, we received
Any
that
other comments?
2 days ago.
I have no comment. Commissioners? No? All right, public comment. Who's signing in? Who's first? Okay. I'm set up. 5 minutes, yeah. All right, start the timer.
Okay, all right, well, I first would like to say,
Kathy, state your name.
Kathy Abadansky, I apologize, Kathy Abadansky from South Brunswick. Okay, I just publicly want to say, I want to thank Mr. Lynch and Valerie and Linda for a meeting with me yesterday to go over some items that I presented to them for reconciling items. Also in that conversation, Mr. Lynch, I actually finished reading your memo, and I do like some of the recommendations that you are going to put into place, you know, for reconciliation. I do like that. Okay, and then after that meeting, Mr. Lynch brought me over to the county clerk's office, and I met with Jean. I've been asking since, well, a long time, since July, because I was, as you understand, I was trying to do a reconciliation from the ENS poll books, the SBRS reports, to the certified ballots. And there was 2 numbers I didn't have broken out, and that was the machine ballots, and that was also the mail-in ballots and machine ballots, because on the website, which I know goes by Clarity. There was one number, and then it was provisional ballots, but this one, the number with the mail-in ballots and machine ballots was a lump sum number. I got it yesterday, so, okay. So let me just say that in trying to reconcile the ENS poll books, whoever, Beatrice, can I call you Beatrice? Beatrice, whoever came in to vote by the machine ballot to the certified ballot, I was unable to do that. The numbers do not tie. They're lower than what the machine ballot total is. I did contact Valerie Henry because I said I didn't want to ambush her today. And I said, Valerie, I just looked up these numbers and I'm looking at my totals. And let me just explain something, okay? What I did was ask by open request the ENS poll book logs. I'm just going to make this quick because I only have 5 minutes. ENS poll book logs. All right, that gives me the information of by voter ID. I was able to determine who voted by machine, who voted by provisional, based on this, okay? And then I had the SVRS. I had 2 reports, December 30th and 126th. I'm just going to use the December 30th. And I was able to filter those items too. Who voted by machine, who voted by provisional, who voted by mail-in ballot. But I cannot reconcile these items. And I think by knowledge and very nicely the meetings that I'm having, I understand that the SVRS reports, they are live. They're not locked. The information is not locked. So the last time that we met, I actually put in an open request. And I asked, can I have a report that adds up to, I even know the number by heart, 207,780? That is mail-in ballots, machine ballots, and provisional ballots. This report does not exist. So what I'm suggesting is this. I know that Mr. Lynch is trying to get some changes to the SVR's report, so the election integrity will be on these reports. More information will be there for him to be able to, for lack of a better word, have the election better, all right? But what I am always suggesting from the time being, and Beatrice, we talked about this the last time, is a reconciliation. And what I'm talking about is a reconciliation from the time the voter checks in. This is the ES&S report. I made some notes. There's 3 different reconciliations, machine and provisional. You could use the ENS poll book logs. You can have a detail by voter ID, who checked in to vote, by what ballot type, and it will give you the municipality and the polling location. I would also ask you to request from ENS, because this is captured in the book, an ATV number, and the reason why for the ballot reinsurance. The reason why I'm saying these things is because of this. And then also, you have the sticks in the machines. It's ENS machines. You could get the totals of the votes by machine, by polling location. You have that piece. And then you have who voted, checked in by machine in the ES poll books. You have a reconciliation by polling location. And you see if these 2 match. If it doesn't match, all right, that's a reconciling item. You're accounting for every single voter, and you're accounting for the votes that are in the machine. If it doesn't match, right now we say hypotheses like the voter might have walked out, something like that. But you can actually prove this to an extent, because if you took the ATV number, okay, if you follow me, and then you collect the ATV numbers in a bag, all you would have to do is match these. Now, I'm not saying every single polling location is going to have a reconciling item, but what I'm saying to you is, as a citizen, concerned voter, whatever, you should be able to match who came to vote to the certified ballots cast. This would be the best resource. You paid for this, ESM machines. Let them give you the information you need in order to do this. All right, so that's one. Provisional ballots, the same thing. The information is in the book, provisional ballots. I understand, I get it. I'm like, the poll workers make mistakes. But you know in the book what's the provisional total. You have provisional ballot boxes, bags there, all right? You know how many ballots you're going to have. There might be mistakes, I'm granting you, there might be mistakes that they don't have them checked in, they give them the paper ballot. But you will be reconciling, E&S Pobo, these are the people that came in to vote. These are the ones that are spoiled. These are the ones that we're rejecting because they're going into, because they voted by mail. These are the ones that are here, obviously, that didn't check in. You would have a reconciliation all the way to the certified vote. I think this, okay, and then, I'm sorry, and then that's what I'm trying to say, that I'm asking you, bank statements, or if you do a bank reconciliation, if the bank gave you a balance at the end and said, okay, this is how much is in your account, would you be happy with that? If they gave you detail and just said, okay, this is withdrawals and this is deposits, would you be happy with that? You would go back and say, where's the detail? Let me reconcile this. You don't have reports now that give you this information. You need to have an internal reconciliation to sign off that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, to make sure. I'm telling you, my background, I'm not bragging, I'm an accountant. My background is internal audit and auditing. I work for a CPA firm. This is what I've done. I wanted to say, yes, it all works. But I can see that you need an internal reconciliation. Now, Linda did tell me, yes, Linda. No, you did tell me that you do this. You told me for mail-in ballots that you count the number of ballots that come in. What I'm saying, for commissioners here, you sign off.
That didn't match up either?
What I'm saying, what I'm saying is for the commissioners, before you sign off on it, they're to have a formalized reconciliation schedule from the time the ballot comes in. You have 100,000 mail-in ballots come in. These are the ballots that when you start opening them up from the mail-in ballot, you can see that the ballot is not in there. I'm talking the secrecy envelope, they're not sealed, you can see it. That would be a reconciling item before you tear up the certification. You can obviously see there was not a ballot in it. You put that over. That's one pile, that's adjudication. You can, I'm just saying that these would be the type of situations that you probably know more, but I'm saying spoiled ballots, ballots that are going for, signature that you have to confirm, ballots, just going down the line.
Your time is up, can you come
okay.
back again?
Yes.
The other-
Yes, yes. I was gonna say something nice. I'll come back and say something nice.
Go ahead, Mr. Bond.
All right.
Yeah, I think certainly for the vote by mail ballots that arrive, and we book them in, it's X numbers, that there should be, clearly in that one, there should be, when it ends up, the numbers that are counted, and the numbers that are voided for different reasons, and it should total.
They keep meticulous.
Do we have reports for that?
Yeah, we have varying reports
well,
when they're being counted in terms of batches, in terms of when they're counted, how many are taken out of the envelopes.
So do those reconcile the way she mentioned?
Well, you do have like
It's either
rejected
yes or no,
ballots.
do you have that, or,
I mean, in terms of the formal report to give you, no,
The
we have
numbers.
the individual.
you never do it by numbers?
We have it by the batches when they're counted and taken off at the table.
But the
so
total
it's-
of rejected ballots for one reason or another, plus the accepted ballots, should total the number of ballots that come in.
Received
Do we have a
initially.
report that says that?
We don't have a report.
He says no, so I think we
Okay,
should.
how do,
Don't you think
that
we should
seems
do
to be
that?
reasonable.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
not,
reasonable.
again, like in conversation with Kathy, it's not an unreasonable.
Right.
Well, after the fact, we have reports.
It is
We have reports,
reasonable.
we can run out what was accepted, what was rejected.
Yes.
But not
Yes.
until commissioners reject, we don't reject.
Right.
We
No.
can't.
No,
we can't say
yes.
anything
Yes,
after.
however it's rejected, the total number should go.
Should be the same.
The total accepted, the total rejected in whatever way, whatever way it's rejected.
It should add up.
It should add up.
That number should be, and that's what I was going to say earlier, was I believe that the provisionals also. In other words, if we come in and we're missing, as has happened, we have to make sure we find those ballots that somehow were not delivered here at the end of election time, right? If we know that X numbers of provisionals were handed out, we should find that out.
We
And I thought we
have
did.
that from the
I thought that we did.
provisionals that are physically taken out of the provisional ballot bags, and in terms of what was counted and then what is rejected by the board.
Okay, so those match.
So those would match.
Yeah, we count everything that comes
Right,
in, we
yeah.
count
right.
what was received.
And those were good?
Well,
Well,
again,
they're
that's not
received.
what
You
Kathy
don't
asked,
get
that, and
Well, we
again,
don't
Kathy's-
know, you don't necessarily know how many provisionals were handed out either on
You said we
using
do
using the
know.
machine, no, that's what we're counting it, what we know is what's in the provisional ballot bags or boxes that we get back from each polling place. That's
when
not
it
what we
arrives
have.
at the board and,
Right.
and is properly sealed. So
Mhm.
those are the ones which
Right,
we,
no, that's what we
staff will
have.
operate and research.
I think the part of the question is there anything that matches with, because when the people come in and sign in, and we do something with the provisional, when they sign in, that they're not there, but they're given we use the machine as a marking device, but do we have anything else that shows that the number of ballots that came back in each bags is equal to the number of ballots that were handed out
The
at the
form the
polling
poll
place?
worker fills out.
Right.
The poll worker will fill out how many were voted, and then we count it when it comes back.
If you use the
So
paper
whatever
ballots, if they're using the voting machine,
You don't get a number?
you won't
Because
get
it's
it,
in the machine.
because it's in the machine.
So somebody
Well, it
has
doesn't
to
stay in
know.
the
It
machine.
doesn't stay in the machine, the machine is just used as a marking
But listen,
device.
listen to me, how the process works with
Go ahead.
voting machines.
Yeah,
So, I come in as a voter, I sign in this provisional ballot.
In the,
I'm handed a card, I walk over to the voting machine.
all right,
Now, in that process, I have to then go to the table where I have to fill out my cert and the envelope, like get all that together,
Right.
fold it up and put it in. And then I put it in the box. So what Tom is saying to you, that whatever comes back in the box is what our board can judge. Anything in between that process, meaning a poll worker doesn't use the proper envelope or doesn't, seal it, or they sometimes, no kidding around, they've actually folded up a ballot and just thrown it in the box without even a cert. You can't count that, you'll still see that they voted provisional, except that provisional is not going to count.
and I'm suggesting, if you don't mind, that if a poll worker is given 20, she has to let us know.
But they use ballot cards, so it's not a
You
count.
just said somebody can throw something out, they have something physical.
Whatever's
you're
in
not
that
listening.
bin is supposed to go on that form on the outside.
Right.
Whatever, regardless if there's an
Right.
envelope or not an envelope, it's
Right.
supposed to go on that form, it comes back here.
Right.
If
I
there's
mean-
Poll
two,
workers
that ballots
told-
was just thrown in and no envelope, it gets written on our paper, an
And then-
exposed ballot.
And then once it comes back,
Yes.
then we double check it and
And count, double check.
against the paper the form that they filled out. And then we double check it by counting and
Okay.
compare it to that form.
And they are alerted to that state and responsible for those
They know they're supposed to
papers
count.
for the
Yep.
votes.
But
Right?
there's no pre-count on the ballot cards, because they're blank,
Not on the cards,
yes.
but on the physical paper that they complete? Isn't that, don't we have to give that to them?
There's no paper given to them if they vote on the ballot card, only the
The
cert.
name and everything is when
Only
you
on the
sign
cert,
it.
which is on an envelope.
They will take the ballot card back and put it in a provisional ballot envelope.
Yes.
Then it goes. in the
And fill out the
box.
cert,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
And then put it in the ballot bag itself that Tom's talking about.
So
when it
that
comes
paper
back.
that was thrown into the garbage is just gone,
It could have, yes.
and we'll never
And then
know
you
what
guys will
that
never
number
count.
is to reconcile.
Yeah, exactly. So then you'll have one more provisional than one was actually in the bag in that situation.
Okay, that's a little hard, isn't it, to say? It's I'm sorry, I hate these apples.
How would you be able to correct that?
Yeah, well,
It's a poll worker, it's human error. So that wouldn't be something we can correct unless we're physically in every polling place and watching.
so we just have to let all the poll workers know you cannot throw anything out. It has to be accounted for and you're responsible.
As we do, but
You
again,
do.
we do.
And we will make it more serious this next time so that we can generate a much more formal presentation to
Over
the
the
workers.
Or if I'm a voter who gets upset because I feel like I'm not voting the same way, and I walk out, now you again have one extra person who's listed as voting in the machine, or they would be called a fled voter.
Right.
And that does happen.
Now, I know no matter how you do it, you're gonna have a certain margin of error. You have to, because
Sure.
poll workers,
Because it's
Make
it's
mistakes.
human
They
error,
don't listen.
yes, exactly.
you know,
We have-
what
we
the
have to
percentage
make
would
sure.
be, what the percentage would be that would be acceptable, I don't know even where we would go from there. You know, is a few
Not like
or
we're
is
not
it,
trying.
you know, I
That's
don't,
the best I could say. You read the directions that Valerie.
Let's
And I
move
said,
along.
Now, as far as the
Back to
machines are
commissioners, I know I will be much more fiscal to make sure
Yeah,
that
well-
they do know and act on what needs to be done, period. It's not a given that they should make
I do
mistakes,
have
I'm
one.
sorry.
Same thing
have
with
one
the
question.
Public
machines.
service announcement on all the local TV.
Absolutely,
On the machines.
every day.
Now, when a voter comes in, those, you can reconcile that pretty close unless the voter gets pissed off and
Walks out.
walks out.
Correct.
So now
Then
you
we're
don't
aware
know.
of
Then you're off that count, but you're right, everything
And then
else
we're aware of
drops
that
into the
though,
box.
and everything starts again.
So machine votes are usually very close. That's never really an issue with
Because you have to also realize you have the machine tapes and then the voting results with the county clerk's office reconciles before you guys certify the election. So
I
they
have
do
one
check
que-
for each district.
One question.
The county
I
clerk says
understand-
they reconcile.
I understand, yes, Captain,
Okay.
I understand
One
that,
person at a time.
I understand that the machine, in some instances, the machine number of people voting is less than the people that checked in. That's what you're talking about. You know what, there's, I'm not sure, I would be much more concerned if the machine number was higher than the number checked in. Has you found any of that?
Yeah.
Yes? So that's a problem, because you don't have, you can't take care of fled voters.
It's what, can I answer? They only found out about this maybe 2 hours ago, the number that I was trying to get, number broken down between mail-in ballots and machine ballots, I got from the county clerk.
Okay.
And I brought them down, the total amount, that's what I'm saying, Don, the total amount that was certified, okay, to the total amount of people that checked in by machine is lower than what was certified. The certified amount is
Okay,
higher.
that's a problem.
I'm sure there might be a reasonable explanation, but if you do not have this reconciliation, you will never know.
That's a problem because we have fled, I'm gonna finish
I
finishing
I
the
wanted to
question.
know, I also have a question.
Yeah, I
She
know, but
always
I'm
lets me
finishing
speak
this
first.
part.
And I just.
If you have,
Sorry, yes, yes.
if you have more votes on the machine than checked in, that's a problem, which means and it's not obviously solved by fled voters because it would be the other way around. So shouldn't be any, we need an explanation as to how we got more votes on the machine than we have people checked in.
Commissioner
Yeah.
Moskowitz is next.
Thank you, I just wanted
I
to.
could rebut his if he wants an answer.
Sure,
You understand that all voting machines are not tied to one district.
The total, but.
Yes.
the
Total balance cast.
Now,
Yes.
within the polling location.
Within a poll, if we're doing it
Yes,
like that,
but
by
you can
district,
add-
not
but you
by
can do that.
machine. My point is, don't go by machine.
No,
Go by district.
yes.
Okay.
going by where the votes are tallied that are people who are checked in. If they're in a polling location and they're checking in any machine, any e-poll vote.
She's saying machine, I'm just reiterating
Yes,
this. You're gonna
yes.
call the machine out.
Yes.
If it's a district or a polling
No.
place with 4 districts, it's not going to match because
But the
they
total
can
number,
use 4 different
the
machines.
total number of votes cast on all the machines from all those districts.
That's what you're saying, but she said something
Well,
different.
I
That's why I was
understand,
reiterating.
but the total votes cast on all the machines in a polling location, if they can vote anywhere, should not be more
Correct.
than all the people that checked in on all of the e-poll books in that polling location.
Correct.
That's a problem, and that's something we have to find out about,
And
to know about it.
Commissioner Moskowitz,
Thank
you
you.
next.
you do know that all the materials from the machines as well as the numbers go right downtown, correct? We do not deal with those numbers here in our offices. So what explanations do they offer you there as to why they see a lack of reconciliation of numbers, or they just haven't checked it?
Okay,
They just sent you back here?
Beatrice,
Yes.
honestly,
Mhm.
this just happened yesterday. I
Okay.
went to see Jane, the county clerk. She gave me the 2 numbers, she gave me the information, and I was doing it on a total scale, okay? I haven't got,
Okay.
from yesterday to today, and to be perfectly honest, Valerie and Tom and Linda, I think you're the most hardest working people ever, I wanna just say that. I
Correct.
know that ain't part of your question,
Correct.
but I wanna say that, and I'm saying, I'm sure there is a logical explanation for this, but what I'm saying to you is that there has to be an explanation. That's what I'm saying. This is a reconciliation. And if you adopt this, since you do not have reports because the ES&S system is in a different format of the SBRS system, they don't talk to each other really, but it's different, and you can't get a formalized report that will give you what I was trying to get, a bottom line number with mail-in ballots, machine ballots, and provisional ballots, ending up to 20780, bam, you have it. An internal reconciliation would have to be done. I would never sign off on anything until I saw the beginning process tying into the E&S poll books for machine and provisional ballots, and then an internal thing, which Linda said that she does. But now that is key, because you can't rely on the SBRS system, because it's a moving report, that any time that you change something on that report, that was the explanation, Tom, honestly, so why somebody that I was asking a question last time, why did these people that were originally put in as mail-in ballots were now provisional ballots, is because you put in, they typed in putting in the provisional ballot, and then 148 of them were rejected. It's the last record that's going to the vendor's ID, which is being reported on the SBRS. So you can't tie anything. So you need these internal reconciliations to feel comfortable with the results.
Kathy, we have to
Sorry.
move on to the next one.
I'm so sorry.
Mr. Lawrence?
Hi, thank you. Bill
That was my
Lawrence.
5 minutes, I'm going back.
Bill Lawrence from Piscataway. So I'm just curious on the data sources collected. So we have the electronic poll books, the ES&S poll books. So I understand you guys have, there's like a spreadsheet or something that can come out of each poll book that shows the activity in the poll book? Is there a report like that that's available?
It's an ES&S poll book. Sorry.
ES&S poll book log? Something like that can be obtained?
Yes.
And so the voting machine, is there a list that comes out of like each voting machine? Do you guys keep that separately? You keep a file, somebody?
That's what the county clerk, that's the results take.
Yes.
County clerk? And then provisional ballots by location. Is there a list of provisional votes are counted here in the Board of Elections?
Yes.
And is there, do they count them by location?
No, they're researched by staff and then separated out by, if you want to say, good provisionals or rejected by precinct, but counted by town, yes.
By town, so not location.
No.
And then provisional ballots, poll book log. Is there early voting versus election day separation? Just curious, because early voting goes on for a long time, and I presume that it's all kept. For instance, the voting machines, early voting,
Totally separate.
the little card is not taken out every night. It's just left in there and taken out at the end of early voting period, the end of the week.
Right.
And
Separate.
then, but that number, that card, and the information on that little thumb drive is downloaded separate from the information that's taken out on election day. So those are like two different, even for the same voting machine, those are still
They're
two.
not the same voting
No
machines.
matter what, same voting.
Oh,
Early voting machines,
They're separated.
early voting machines are not used on election day.
okay. So that definitely makes them two separate items. And is that information, so each thumb drive, is that kind of loaded into, a spreadsheet or a database, thumb drive by thumb drive? Kind of identifiable?
Reporting or something.
It's all the thumb drives are read on election day. But again, in terms of like a report of early voting by stick, it's not. It's just the total votes separated by town and by district in terms of like where that person voted.
So each thumb drive is kind of read into a list, is kind of loaded into a list, and a list is generated, and the list grows as each thumb drive is loaded into that list.
The results appear on the website on election night. So we load that it gets transmitted to the clerk's office, and then the results are then uploaded to the website at the
Just clarify something for myself.
When he's finished.
Oh, well, it just relates, you just said, he said that one list
You
goes in
can
there.
answer at the end.
But I don't, okay.
It's 1 minute and 40 seconds.
And the ATV, the authorization to vote envelopes that are on each machine, are they ever counted? Are they stay in the bag? Does anybody ever handle them? Or they just stay in the bag for, just in case, for an audit or something like that?
They stay in the bag, and then they're just used for general questions if there's a question about a particular voter or questions about signature or anything like that, so.
Otherwise, they're not count, the standard is not to count each bag, anything like that. Just curious. That's it, thank you.
Commissioner,
I was asking, he asked you if one list was put in after another, and Mr.
Lawrence.
Lawrence, I'm sorry, what was your bottom line question for him? Because I didn't understand why it would be a single item or not a duplicate item, a list.
It's not a list, I mean, it's just the results are read from the sticks. They go into the.
One item.
Go into the database in terms of, because again, you have 10 early voting locations, so that then the results get filtered out to the particular towns and places in terms of how those results are then deemed.
Is that how you understood that explanation? Because I thought you said it was, one list was going in after another. And they weren't added up, they were just all being separated as soon as the list went in?
There's no list, I mean, it's just a,
Okay, what term would you like me to use?
I mean, the USB sticks that are collected during early voting,
Sticks?
the USB sticks which
Is that
contain
it?
the results. They're then read on election day, and then the results on that stick are then transmitted through the electionware to the county clerk, in terms of all the results from the 10 early voting locations and how people voted at each of the sites for each of the contests.
The data on each stick has its own location, probably on the stick, so in a sense that separates the location.
It doesn't separate it by stick, no. It's just, it's not separated by stick, it's added cumulatively to the contest.
Thank you.
Don't we usually have an audit after an election?
There's a general election audit after each general election. It ties to whether or not first it addresses the tabulators and whether the tabulators are counting the ballot cards correctly, or at least the mail-in ballots correctly. And the other one ties to the actual count, to the machines themselves, and again, if they're selected, that the ballot cards, the results from the results tape match what's the cards that are in the machine and the totals thereof. So that is done every general election. We'll be doing one this post-election. So we've done it for the last at least three years.
State mandated.
State mandated. And again, the tabulators and voting machines have been 100% accurate after each of those general elections.
Charlie, you're next.
How was that, Bob?
Good evening, Commissioners. Charlie Cradaville, the editor of New Brunswick Today. First, have to congratulate you on the new digs. It looks like a nice place here. It's my first time here. And I could use some information on the Spotswood-Helmetta election. Can anybody tell me the basics?
Well, it's a special election, which would be a financial, which would be, what,
Budget question.
budget question.
So just a yes or no question and the date?
It's September 26th.
September 26th, okay, thank you. Very pleased to see I'm not the only one that's interested in reconciling the results of past elections. I know, had a lot of issues with ES&S as a company, as well as ES&S in their work for Middlesex County, and I wanted to draw everyone's attention to the recent report issued
By the Attorney General.
Yes, at the request of the Attorney General, Peter C. Harvey, investigation of the vote miscount in the Monmouth County November 2022 election, investigative findings and policy recommendations. I want to encourage everyone who's not familiar with it to read it. And it seems like ES&S was a bad actor. They sent someone who was not qualified to be doing software updates. They sent a customer relations manager to Monmouth County to do some work on their system. And then, when it turned out that an error made by that person was responsible for the wrong person being elected and taking office, ES&S issued a statement that was untrue and misleading and threw Monmouth County under the bus and tried to stick them with some of the blame for this issue. And I don't want to see anything like that happen here. I know, thankfully, the biggest issue we had was, one of the sticks that was not read, and that it was ultimately read within 7 days. To my knowledge, no wrong person has been seated in an office, but I never want to see anything close to that happen here. And so I want to encourage the board to use your power and your leverage to demand ES&S answer questions and add some of the functionality that's apparently needed to check their math and check their equipment. Because I think I mentioned earlier this summer, a recent school board election, the published results show a certain number of votes, and when I requested the list of everybody who was permitted to vote, it wasn't the same number. It was off by 5 or 6, which is, in that election, 1%. And in light of this recent report, I'm going to be redoubling my efforts to investigate the recent elections in New Brunswick and get to the point where we do have reports that can confirm every ballot that has come through this building and every person who was given the right to vote. I know we've had issues, even in the 2020 election where there were problems with ballots and the election being certified without all the votes being counted. And I know a lot has changed. Obviously, the location changed. We had COVID. We got new machines. We got a lot of changes in law to deal with, and it's moving very fast. But I think ES&S is really not a good partner, and they're missing from this room. I would like to see them come and take questions from the board and the public. In my own interactions with them, they're PR people. Being a journalist and reaching out to them as a reporter, I was not satisfied with their responses and their really overwhelming silence to most of the questions that I asked. And I think I brought it to this board at that time that was a big red flag, and that kind of behavior, anti-transparency behavior from a company that's providing such a critical service for our county, is really something that the board needs to correct and do everything you can to hold that company accountable and tell them if we're going to continue using your services, you've got to provide answers and assurances that you will never do what you did to Monmouth County to us. And I think that's about all I wanted to say today, but I will follow up with some open requests and try to reconcile those elections, and I would appreciate if anybody has information to share with me that you'd reach out or talk to me, and I'll continue the dialogue.
5 minutes are up.
That's all.
Come back though. After your
Can I come back? Okay.
5 minutes.
All right, that's it.
3 minutes, oh, sorry,
All right.
3 minutes.
April, I want to jump on that thing that you said about an audit. Okay, the audit is only 2% of the ballots at the machines. I remember one time looking on the website on that section, and memory serves me right, I remember for like 3 towns, 74 ballots were being checked. So it's only 2%, so it could be more, but it's only 2%, all right? The other thing that I want to say is I totally understand that there are going to be issues. There are going to be spoiled ballots in the bag. There are going to be poll workers that don't follow the circumstances, and there are going to be maybe extra ballots in the provisional box and stuff like that. Those things I know are going to happen, but don't get caught up in those details, because what you do is what I keep saying over and over again. I do have a provisional reconciliation. If anybody would like to see it, okay, whatever like that, which I shared with everyone. And like I said, it was just based on the ENS poll book numbers. I really do believe, jumping off what he just said, that is the basis of everyone coming in to vote. That's it. Those are all the voters saying, okay, I'm trusting you. I'm trusting you. I'm stepping up. I'm trusting you that you're going to take care of me, and here I am, all right? So regardless of the fact that we say these little things that, okay, maybe they get the ballot and they decide they want to walk away or something like that, you have to reconcile to what ENS's poll book says. You have to do it. Regardless of the fact that that person voted or didn't vote, you can prove it out. I'm trying to tell you, don't get caught up in the details. You look at those ENS poll book logs, it's telling you how that person checked in, okay? And yes, there are gonna be people that checked in, which I showed you before, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, I understand. Those are poll worker errors. That's why I'm saying, in the first thing I said, ask for an additional item on the report that says why the person issued it, okay? Because then that's another step in making the elections even stronger by saying, okay, why at this polling location there were 6, reissues? Why? Okay, it's gonna say, okay, you can then adjust that and you can address that later. But when that's a reconciling item, you find out, okay, did that person, I have standard reissue, provisional reissue. How did that person vote? Standard? Okay, fine, but you're reconciling it. These are issues, total, issues, certified vote. I tried to do it. Now I have the numbers. I'm doing it total. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't, and I'm not saying I'm a genius or anything like that, but I have the information. And I am giving them all the benefit of the doubt, of course, to do it, because I don't think it was ever done this way. So let's start fresh. Let's start forward. Let's have an internal reconciliation that takes you from how the people that came in, all the adjusted items, you should see a schedule, this is what you have. I'm certifying this election because I can see all the pieces. And then, like I said, I'm just going to be reiterating, but I have something here, that's what I tried to do. All right, bye.
Mr. Lawrence, do you want to come back? No? Okay. Charlie? No, okay. Any comments?
ES&S, can we reach out to them and maybe have them come to a meeting to answer some of these questions?
Reach out.
No, I think that's great.
I have a general comment. In terms of the audit, it should be understood that, one, the audit is pursuant to the state law. The audit is open to the public, and the selection of the batches that are counted within the 2% are by a random drawing. And any member of the public that goes to that thing can be part of the participation that polls the selection as to which batches are counted. So it's designed that way. I mean, I've been there twice, and I have been ended up being the public, but there was no really. I had invited other people at different times, but I don't know. I haven't gone to every one of these things, but it's open to the public, and they can be part of the initial drawing to decide that they. Remember that the audit ends up being a hand count of things. So we have 560,000 voters. I don't know, it depends how many people we vote. Voted in each election, 200,000, 250, whatever the number can be. So 2% of that is still a large number, and we're counting that by hand. So the fact that it's 2% versus X other percent, it's a lot of work in terms of that. The key part is getting the randomness so that you select it. It's a random selection, so you get into that. That's like for sampling purposes. That's all.
Any other comments? Okay, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Franklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Cox?
Yes.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
Yes.
Commissioner Beverly?
Yes.
Oh,
Did I take this session?
And
I think
second
that's
session.
session.
Oh, we shouldn't have. We shouldn't have. That's right, Maria.
The motion to reconsider.
Take it out.
Probably take the motion to adjourn.
One adjourn.
I'll change that motion.
We do that next year's audit?
To release your rental
But I'm looking for a reconciliation from point A to point B. You see
No,
what
I
I'm
know.
saying?
There's,
And audit is 2%.
Pardon me, I just
I
want to
get it,
understand,
get
the
it.
board's going into executive session?
Steve, I get where you're
Okay, for
coming
what
from.
reason?
But that's auditing the machine and property. I'm
Okay,
talking about.
The only thing
will
I
you
have
be
to say is-
taking action when you come back?
You love me.
we're not, we're not.
Okay, thank you.
Wish we were.
No, I understand that, but if